Does being happy scare you? Like, does happiness itself scare you? Because I've been, not gonna lie, the entire process of falling in love with yourself and choosing you and losing whatever comes with choosing you, it is scary at first. Like when you just start that, like when you decide for real this time that you're not gonna go back on your words, you're just gonna make sure that you're front and center with everything. Yeah, that shit scares you in the beginning. But as time goes by, you actually start liking it and loving it actually. And you're just like, I cannot believe that I did not do this sooner. But for me, what I will say about healing, especially healing out loud, it is not going to happen before it should happen. And I know that sounds kind of like vague, like, girl, what? I'm not a prophetess, okay? And I'm not well, I do life philosophy, so I won't say that. But I think sometimes, right, the path that we're on, it leads us in different direction, especially when you don't have like your mind set on a specific destination. Like sometimes a lot of people, they're just like, oh, I'm just going with the flow of life. So if it takes you here and it takes you there, then like whatever, you just go with it. And then sometimes you end up in a predicament where you're like, man, I regret that I came down this road. But I do think you were supposed to. I do believe that we are supposed to get lost a few times. We're supposed to travel in different directions sometimes, and sometimes you and a person is going to seem like you're on a similar path, and you're going to be walking with them, and you're going to help them, and they're going to help you, and we're all just going to figure it out, right? But the thing is, yes, we're supposed to do that so that when the time comes for us to really sit with ourselves and decide that, all right, I've had enough and I'm going to deal with myself. Yeah, you can actually deal with yourself. Because what I will say, I can only speak from my point of view, but there were so many times that I started my journey of healing. But then when life confronted me by saying, all right, you say you want to heal, you're going to have to let go of this shit. I was like, fuck no. I am not letting go of that, especially like even relationships. And that's whether it's your family or platonic or intimate. Sometimes we do not want to let go of whatever we have or what we think we've built or what we've invested in, because, a lot of us look at the years that we put into something, and nobody wants to feel as though all that time that they spent doing this one thing is for nothing, it's wasted. But I guess, why not? Why are we so afraid? Why are we so afraid of it? Yes, you invested all your time and probably all your resources in this one thing. So you want to see it through to the end. You want it to, be that big je ne sais quoi. And then it turns out to just kind of flatline. And so you try to revive it a million times. You try to think of other ways, and that's good, because at least you tested yourself, you pushed your limit, you pushed your brain cells to actually work and just decide, all right, how else can I do this? But sometimes it's a lost cause. Sometimes it's been dead, but you don't want to give up, because giving up makes you feel as though the world is going to laugh at you because people were watching, and then they're going to be like, oh, you see, ha ha ha. But who gives a fuck? We give a fuck, and that's why we keep holding on. But what are you giving a fuck for? Because most of the times when we don't want to let go of something, it's because of what other people have said and what other people will think. Deep down that this is it, flatline. This is done. So why not let it go for you? I am very familiar with that. Sometimes you don't want people to see you fall apart. Sometimes you don't want people to see that you failed. Sometimes you don't want people to see that you've fallen on your face. But this is not about them. Because in the end, we got to be accountable for the things that we partake in. And what does it look like? For example, if you put 5 years into something and it didn't work out, you're going to add a next 5 more where you can feel it draining your energy. You can feel it draining your literal life force. And you still want to hold on to it. You still want to find ways to reinvent it because of people. Sometimes we want to do it because of us. But most times it's because we don't want somebody to laugh at us and, point fingers and say, ha ha. But so, like, let me tell you something. Sometimes a person sitting there watching you. You know, all right, let me say this differently. You know what I've observed in this life? You see the people who watches you the most and stays in touch with everything that you're a part of is normally the person that dislikes you the most. They want you to fail. So sure, when you fail and they see it, yeah, they're gonna talk shit and they're gonna laugh at you and they're gonna like make you feel all the things that you don't want to feel. But the thing is, you were supposed to feel them. It was gonna happen because that wasn't your final part of the plan. It wasn't. So whether you delayed another 10 years, another 15 years, you're still gonna feel it because that wasn't the final thing for you. That was just supposed to be a stepping stone to get to another thing. And sometimes we don't want to use those stepping stones. Sometimes we want to say that I did it and I got it right on the first try. And don't get me wrong, there are those times when you do get it right on the first try and you're like, you know, but 90% of the times we're not going to get it right on the first try. But we've been told that we are supposed to be perfect, even though we're told that imperfection exists. And don't worry about it. You're imperfect. That's fine. You can do it. But then when your imperfection prevails, they laugh at you and say, you're imperfect. Okay, well, bitch, I know that. That's why I'm trying. That's why it's called a trial and error. But nothing beats a trial than a failure. And the only way that you fail is if you don't try. Cool. So yes. Anyway, I'm saying all of that to say this. Happiness is scary. Okay? Happiness, true happiness in yourself is scary at first, but it becomes riveting. It becomes beautiful because now you've built a bond with yourself. Now you did not abandon that little girl or that little boy inside of you that wanted your attention, but you had to like push them aside so that you could fit in with the crowd because you needed to complete this and you needed to complete that, and who you are and what you possess or the things that you've been through, you don't want nobody to know. So you keep diluting yourself and you keep, rearranging everything so that you can fit perfectly into that place. But that place was never for you. But I get it. We were in survival mode. We were trying to do what was necessary so that we could get to what we think or what we thought at the time would have been great for us. But sometimes you get to that place. Sometimes you do the stepping stones and you get to where you want to be. But then you realize that it's not fulfilling. It has nothing. And you sit there with yourself and you're like, I played the game. I did it the right way. I did it how I was told. So why is it that I still feel so incomplete? But that's because you always wanted to get it right on the first try. You never wanted to fail. You never wanted to go back to the drawing board. You never wanted to make it known that, okay, I don't know what I'm doing. I don't have it figured out. This thing seems so easy on the surface, but doing it is complicated. You never wanted to highlight any of the parts of you that seemed imperfect, seemed unlovable. Did you know that loving yourself is contagious? If you are around a bunch of people and you are just loving yourself and enjoying who you are and doing what you adore, you'll get two types of reaction from that crowd. You will have a part of the crowd that looks at you like, oh, you're so conceited, you're so full of yourself, you think you're all that. Oh, look at her, she's just pretending. And then there will be another side of the crowd that's like, man, that must be so free to like not give a fuck and just do whatever the fuck I want to. And I think I prefer the side that says, I want to do whatever the fuck I want to. And I think you'll actually like that side more. Because you don't have to get up every day and dress up to fit a certain image. You won't have to. I'm not saying you should not have like, don't get me wrong. You can make yourself into the well-rounded individual that you want. I'm not saying get out of bed and just go on the street looking like you just got out of bed. Like, no, you can please take care of yourself. That's not what I mean. Okay? I just mean that love yourself enough to not give a fuck. No two persons are alike, not even a pair of twins. Everyone has their own thing going on for them. So how dare you try to fit yourself in that box filled with a bunch of nobodies who are trying to fit in so that the world can see them? Do you know that when you push the envelope and when you remain as you are, did you know that's the time that people really pay attention to you? And you'll have some of those people that pays attention to you as supporters, and you'll have some of them as people who sit there trying to tear you down. Half the times they want to tear you down because they gave up on themselves. They want to tear you down because you reflect an insecurity of them. They want to tear you down because you represent thought that they could never process, which is to give a fuck about yourself enough to be you. They went and they played the game that society said, let's play. And it made them miserable. Because in the end, they lost who they were and they just became a shell of the person that they started out as. But you decided, I won't let people tell me what my heartbeat rhythm should sound like. I'm gonna move with my own, and I'm gonna be my own self. And if it just happens to attract the right people along the way, then that's a plus. And if it happens to attract nobody at all, then that's okay, because it was always meant for me. This is meant for you. You are you. People look at happiness as something that has like this permanent meaning to it, like this permanent fixture of what it should always be 100% of the time. That's not true. Happiness is depicted through you, by you, for you. It's whatever you want to get up and do today. It's whatever you want to get up and feel today. It's whatever you want to get up and be a part of today. The thing is, it's all your call. It's your call. It's your shot. So at first, yes, happiness is gonna scare you because you're gonna have to dismantle everything that you thought happiness was. All the ideologies that you have in your head of what happiness should feel like and what happiness should possess, you're gonna have to dismantle all of that. You're gonna have to start from the ground up. And a lot of us, we don't like to start from the ground up because we don't want nobody to see us when we don't even have it all figured out. We want them to see us when we're winning and we're thriving and when everything is perfect. But no, you're hiding. I'm hiding. We don't have to hide. We just have to exist. And we have to just exist in our terms at all. Like nobody else has a say so. It's us. It's us. It's whatever we want. And I know it sounds like creating a world filled up with people who is caught up in their own selves, but technically that's what your world is. You see, you and I can sit here and we can watch the same movies, we can listen to the same songs, but we have two different takeaways because we lived two different lives. So why are you dismissing the fact that we are so different and secluding yourself from the fact that happiness is something that you can have? So what if we're different? Let me learn you and you can learn me. And if after what we've learned about each other, we choose and we say, hey, this is not going to work for me. That's not going to work for you. Okay, but it doesn't result in hatred. It results in, okay, well, it was a pleasant experience getting to know you. I'm out. And you go about your journey. So happiness is scary at first because you have to sit with yourself, and you are also going to have to meet some of your monsters, and you're going to be like, I don't know if I want to tap into that. But, you know, an obstacle is only an obstacle if you make it one. There's nothing that you cannot overcome. You just have to change the way you look at it. Stop looking at it like it's a mountain. Stop looking at it like it's the worst thing that's going to happen. Stop looking at it and giving it power to destroy you. Instead, you look at it in a way that can cause you to neutralize the threat and carry on with your journey. That's what happiness is for me. And I've been loving it, okay? I've been saying no and I've been saying yes. And I've just been experiencing all the things that I shut out from myself. And I've been doing it on my terms, my way, because yes, it is my world. And I choose whatever I want to be a part of it and whoever I want to be a part of it. And if it works out where something or someone that I wanted to be a part of it does not meet the criteria of me welcoming you, then it's going to be probably a hard blow because I really wanted you around, but not at the price of my happiness, not anymore. It becomes freeing and it feels light once you start being happy and loving yourself truly. Everything that you thought was such a grand problem, you realize that it's quite minute. It's very puny, very fragile too. And you get it out your way and you keep on moving. All right? You need to start believing that and stop giving up on yourself. Yourself is waiting to be loved by you. And when you love yourself a certain kind of way, everybody around you treats you the way that you treat yourself. So if you treat yourself like you're insecure and you don't know what you want and you don't know who you are, then we're going to keep attracting that until we learn to say, no, what the fuck is that? No, I'm not, ew, you know? So please start applying yourself properly. Yourself is waiting to love you. All right. Please enjoy the rest of your day and I'll talk to you later. Bye.